Hello there, I am fiction author Scott Sigler. I have written a bunch of hardcover novels, 5 for Random House and 5 for my own company, Empty Set Entertainment. I've also done several ebooks and a couple of short story collections. I spend a lot of time online talking to fans and other writers. I tour as much as possible as well as attend various conventions. In all of these venues, I get asked a lot of questions by aspiring novelists. Hence, we came up with this little video series, So You Want to Be a Writer? For our first episode, I'm going to start with the very basics of how to be a writer, which is how to write your first novel. I'm going to share with you my 5-step process on how to do just that. This is the same process I used to write what would become my first hardcover novel, Infected, and launch my writing career. This series doesn't get into a lot of fine detail. I'll cover the high-level elements of the first novel, but I won't get into the nuts and bolts of plot, pacing, character development, etc. My goal is to give you some basic info to help you understand that you can do this. Writing a novel is a ton of work, but my advice can help reduce the pressure and let you have more fun as you chase this admirable goal. There's a lot of people out there offering advice on how to write fiction. Colleges, universities, franchise writing schools, independent consultants, bloggers, and more. Most of them have different advice and recommendations. That's because writing is not a hard science. There is no one right way to do things. Make sure you keep that in mind as you continue your quest for guidance. Just because some of the things an advisor says resonate with you, that doesn't mean you're beholden to all of the things that advisor says. You should pick and choose what feels right for you. Now, most of the people and organizations I just mentioned either charge for their services or they offer some advice free and encourage you to buy this book, that online course, attend this conference, etc. And that's all great. If you find value in what they are selling, then that's money well spent. I don't charge anything for this series because these are questions I get asked all the time, and I'm not selling any books on writing. This video is for the people who always wanted to write a novel but didn't pursue writing in high school or in college. This isn't a writing course, and it isn't an MFA. Now, some people are going to see this and make comments like, you need to train for years to write a novel, or if you're not paying for my class, you're just wasting your time, and other negative Nancy crap. Well, screw those people! If you want to write a novel, you can write a novel, and no matter how busy your life is, I'm about to show you how. I have a 5-step process that I used to write my first book. Here is what I'm going to tell you. Step 1, write every day. Step 2, write a bad book first so you learn how to finish. Step 3, finish the bad book, then put it away for 6 months. Step 4, start writing your good book. Step 5, after 6 months, get out that bad book, read it, learn where you're weak, and address those weak areas. Step 1, write every day. Is that impossible? For most of us, it's damn hard, but you need to try. Schedule the daily time, at least an hour. It'll take prioritization to make it happen, but if you really want to write that novel, this is what you have to do. Writing is like building any other skill. It's like building muscle. The more you do it, the better you get and the stronger you get. And you will be amazed at how quickly a little bit each day adds up. A big part of this process is staying motivated. Seeing your page count grow will keep you going when the times get tough. And brothers and sisters, the times, they will get tough. You're probably going to miss some days. And if you're serious about this, when you do miss, you will feel like crap. You will have days where you hate what you created. You will have days, many of them I suspect, where you will shake your fist at the sky and say, why did I ever think I could do this? I have no talent. Well, that's fine, because right now, you don't have any talent. You have to build it. To get around those feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt, however, I invented step number 2. Step 2, write a bad book first. Now, why on earth would you set out to write a bad book? Life is short. You can barely find time to do this as is. I know. You want to finish that first draft, have it picked up by Penguin, optioned by Scorsese, and then hurry up and spend time on your yacht already with scantily clad boatmates of whichever gender you prefer. By bad, I mean you're not going to get hung up on plot holes or a lack of foreshadowing, inconsistent character motivation, that kind of thing. The goal of writing your first novel isn't to create a bestseller, it is to teach yourself that you can finish a novel. Understanding that goal removes much of the pressure you'll probably feel. There is power in knowing that you can finish, and here's why. Many people set out to write a novel. They outline, they plan, They start with the best intentions, but there is so much you don't know until you do it. And when people get to their first major writing roadblock, many of them just quit. Why? Because writing a novel is freaking hard. People become so invested in their story, so passionate about it, that when they hit the difficult part, they don't know how to get around it. They get frustrated, they put it down, and they never pick it up again. However, if you set out to write a bad novel, all the pressure completely comes off. This is an exercise to get you to the end of the book. When you hit that sticky part all writers hit, you can just power on through. Bring in a girl with a gun, beam in an alien, whip up a betrayal. It doesn't matter. Do anything to move the story forward and keep writing. Remember, the goal of your first book isn't to win a Pulitzer Prize. The goal is just to finish the book. And when you're all done, you can come back and rewrite the novel later. You'll have your chance to replace the beamed-in alien with something that makes more sense. But for this first draft, don't worry about it. Just finish. Finishing gives you power. When the time comes to write the novel you've always wanted to write, you're going to run into tough spots. It will frustrate the crap out of you, and you may think the sky is falling. But don't worry, Chicken Little, because in the back of your head there will be a tiny voice saying, "You can do this. You've done this before. You know you can reach the end. You know what it feels like to finish, and you know you can get that done." That is a power that no writing course or class or consultant or advisor can give you. It's a power that only comes from having done it yourself. So if you've got that amazing plot that you've always wanted to write, don't start with that one. That will be your second book after you've built up some chops. For the first one, come up with a very basic plot. Feel free to make it formulaic. Even model it after your favorite book or movie. Keep the big idea of your first book very simple. Step 3. Finish the bad book and put it away for 6 months. Just finishing your first novel, even a bad one, puts you at the top of the class of aspiring novelists. Once you've finished, put that novel away and don't look at it, not even a peek, for 6 months. Don't let anyone read it, not even your significant other. Trust me on this. Just leave it the heck alone. Even though you set out to write a bad novel, odds are your human nature will kick in and you will secretly think that, hey, you're pretty darn talented after all. Other people's first novels suck, but yours is a special snowflake and you're gonna beat the odds. Well, maybe so. But if that's true, you'll beat those same odds in 6 months. So trust me, put it away. Do not send it to agents, publishers, critique groups, writing clubs, classmate teachers. A time is coming soon when you can do all of those things, if you still want to. Step 4, start writing your good book. Now, while your bad book is incubating in cold storage, start your second book, your real book. What you'll find is that it's easier the second time around. You've got experience writing a novel. The words will come a little faster, the plot will move a little better. You've built up those writing muscles. The reps will come with less teeth-gnashing effort. And here's the kicker. When you hit that difficult spot, when you get stuck, when you are frustrated and it seems too hard to continue, you will continue because of the tiny voice in the back of your head that says, you have done this before, you already know you can finish a novel. Remember when I said finishing the bad book gives you power? This is that power in action. Step 5, read that bad book, learn where you are weak, and correct those areas. So you're working on your second book, your real book, and you think you're pretty hot stuff. It's okay, you're among friends, you can admit it. Deep down, you think that you're the next big thing. Keep on thinking that. After 6 months is up, pull out your first manuscript and read it, starting on page 1, straight through to the end. The 6-month moratorium was there so you could forget what you thought you said on the page and see what the words actually say. This will give you an experience almost identical to that of any reader. What you find here may shock and disturb you. Are you really that bad of a writer? Yes, you are. However, now you're in the home stretch. Read that bad book and pay attention to the areas where you're really horrible. Run-on sentences, flat characters, stilted dialogue, 23 pages where nothing happens but a secondary character waxing philosophical about dirty toenails. All kinds of train wrecks are waiting for you. This is your boot camp, soldier. The things you will learn from reading your own writing with truly fresh eyes will do more to build your skill than all the writing classes in the world combined. This method is magic because this isn't a textbook example. You're not citing Hemingway or modeling Jane Austen. These are your words, your natural writing style. Find your weakest spots and you attack them. Learn how to break up those run-on sentences. Spend time developing a dynamic character. Make dialogue that sounds like real people having a real conversation. And no waxing philosophical about toenails, all right? This process will shed immense amounts of writing fat, the kind of stuff that isn't needed to tell the story. It's also an ego check that will eventually benefit your reader. Now that you know how painful it is to read fatty work, you won't want to expose another human being to that same hideous ordeal. Congratulations! Now you are writing for the reader and not writing to hear yourself talk. Step 6. Repeat. Go ahead and finish your second book. The writing is much better, isn't it? Finish it, then go back to page 1 and start editing the heck out of it. The second book is actually your first novel. I suggest you finish that second book, then rewrite it cover to cover at least 3 times before you let anyone, even the aforementioned significant other, take a peek. Guess what? You've written 2 books. Now you are a writer. Keep building those muscles, keep writing, keep getting better. While there are exceptions, the vast majority of writers don't land a publishing deal until they've written 3 or 4 full novels. So this is all part of a normal process. Even if you're going to self-publish, remember that you are selling your work for money and you want your skill to be worth the customer's cash before you go into business. My process takes time, probably a year or 2. But when you flip through that finished novel, it is one of life's great experiences. That's it for this episode. I am Scott Sigler. You can find me at bookstores, at iTunes, at Amazon.com, or at scottsigler.com. Until next episode, good writing.